Alright, hey Algebra 1. This is Monday, 11, 5/11, not 18. So it's 5/11, May 11th for Algebra 1. So what we have today is we have page 452 through 455, and your assignment is 1 through 18. I'm going to go over a few of these with you. First off is definition of direct variation on page 452. Direct variation is variation in which the output is a constant multiple of the input. Generally, variable y varies directly with variable x. If y equals kx, the value k is called the constant of variation or constant of proportionality. And so basically, we're just going to jump into some problems. Number 1 tells us that it says determine the constant of variation for each table of values and write the formula. Treat the second variable as dependent, which means it's dependent upon the first one. So they give us this table, they give us the x, and they say the x is 4, the y is 8, the x is 5, the y is 10, 6, 12, 7, 14, 8, 16, and then 9, 18. And so to solve this, you want this written in terms of y. And so it's going to be y equals, and then basically what I'm trying to say is y equals what x? What do I have to do to the x value to get the y? So what do I have to do to the x value to get the y? In other words, basically this is going to work by doing y divided by x. So y divided by x is what k is going to equal. So k is going to equal y divided by x. And so basically to figure out what goes in here, I have to figure out what k is. And so what do I have to do to the x to get to the y? Well, if you do y divided by x, you would do 8 divided by 4, and that's 2. So my k is going to be 2. So it's y equals 2x. So again, going back through that, you can choose any one of these, because if it has direct variation, it means that it's going to be the same throughout. So I could do the 8 over the 4, the 10 over the 5, the 12 over the 6, 14 over the 7, all of those are going to be 2. And so that's going to tell you what the k is. And so again, your formula is always going to be y equals kx. So y equals what x? K is what we're looking for. So k is always going to be y divided by x. So I'm going to go to my chart, get my y, and that's y is 8. The x is 4, so you're going to do 8 divided by 4, and that gives you a 2. So your k is 2. And so that's how you're going to work those. Just take the y, divide by your x, and that will give you your k. So if your k could be so just thinking it through, if my y was 3 and my x was 9, then you could end up with a fraction here. So if that's what it was, then this would be 1/3 x. So it would be y equals 1/3 x if it was 3 divided by 9. And so you can get a fraction there, it just depends. But again, all you're going to do is do y divided by x to find that k. So that's what we're looking for. That's the missing part of the equation. The y and the x stay the same, and I'm just looking for that k by doing y divided by x. Okay? So that'll take you through those. The next type problem we'll do is like number 5. So number 5 says express each relationship algebraically. Use k as the constant of variation. So it says 5 says p varies directly with r. So whether it varies directly or directly proportional, that's the same language. So it says p varies directly with r. So it says p. So p is going to be like my y. So it says p varies. This right here says y varies directly with x. And so this says p varies directly with r. So it would be p equals, then your k, because your equation is always y equals kx, so it's p equals k, and then it varies directly with r, so it would be kr. So p equals kr would be your answer. So again, you're just taking the words and making the equation with it. So p varies directly is p equals, then the varies directly tells you it's a k, and then with r tells you the r. So p equals kr would be that one. And so 6, 7, and 8 work the same way. They just give you different letters and things like that. Next, we'll go to number 9. Number 9 says they want you to determine the constant of variation and then write the formula. So again, this is going to work the same way, only they give you a little bit more information. And so it says y varies directly with x, and y equals 20 when x is 4. So they say the first thing you should get there is that y varies directly with x. So what that tells me is y equals kx. That's what that first one says. Y varies directly with x. Then it says, and y equals 20. So y equals 20 when x equals, where'd it go? X equals 4. So x equals 4. So again, this first part, y equals kx, came from like number 5. Then the y equals 20, x equals 4. Then you're going to go back like what we did on number 1. Remember how we said k equals y over x? So I'm going to take this y equals 20, and then take the x equals 4, divide them, and that is going to tell me what k is. So I'm going to take this 20 and that 4, and say, okay, k equals y over x. So if y is 20 and x is 4, I do 20 divided by 4, and that equals 5. And so k would be 5. And so then when I go back into my formula to get my answer would be y equals 5x. That's all it is. Y equals 5x would be your answer. So again, the y and the x stay the same. I just have to figure out what that k is. They told me that y equals 20 when x equals 2. Or x equals 4. I mean, I wrote the wrong thing. When x equals 4. And so, again, you're just going to divide that out. And so 20 divided by 4 will give you the 5. And so that would be number 9. Again, number 10 works exactly the same way. It says b varies directly with a, and b equals 20 when a equals 5. Works exactly the same way. Alright, number 11 says if y equals 2 and x equals 1, what does y equal when x equals 2? So again, they say y equals 2 and x equals 1. So what does y equal when x equals 2? So the first thing you have to do is give you the equation. You have to figure out what the direct variation equation is. So remember, it's always going to be y equals kx. So I know it's going to be y equals something x. I have to figure out what that is. So how do I figure out what k is? Well, you put y divided by x. And so since my y is 2 and my x is 1, I'm going to do 2 divided by 1. So 2 divided by 1. That will give me what the k is. So remember, k equals y over x. So my y, my x. So 2 divided by 1 is just 2. So my formula is y equals 2x. So when y is 2, x is 1. So I do 2 divided by 1. That gives me the k. So I can fill it in. Y equals 2x. Now it says, what does y equal when x is 2? So now I just use the formula I got and plug in this 2 into the x. So y equals 2x. So the x then is going to be 2. And so it's going to be y equals 2 times 2. And so y would equal 4. So just plug that 2 into the x and you get y equals 2 times 2, which is 4. And so that would be how you do number 11. And then it works the same thing for 12, 13, and 14. Always find out first, get your y equals something x, figure out what k is by doing y over x, or whatever it is. And then do, once you have the equation, use this second part and plug into the equation. Okay? And so that's how you're going to do those. So next we'll do 15 and continuing. So last problem I'll do is 15. So 15 says at Fred's Farmer's Mart, the number of tomatoes varies directly with the number of heads of lettuce. When there were 24 heads of lettuce, so 24 lettuce, there were 144 tomatoes. So 24 lettuce, there were 144 tomatoes. Then it says, how many tomatoes were there if there were 52 heads of lettuce? So then I want to know if there were 52 lettuce, how many were there, how many tomatoes? And so, again, we're going to set up y equals kx. Okay, lettuce, tomato. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do tomato over the lettuce. So I'm going to do 144. So this will be my y. This will be my x, in other words. So I'm going to do my k equals y over x. So k would equal 144 divided by 24. So if you do that, I think it's, where'd it go? So 144 divided by 24, that leaves me with 6. And so k is equal to 6. So I'd have my equation is y equals 6x. That's my equation. Now they will say, well, how does when I have 52 lettuces? Well, x was my lettuce, so then I'm just going to plug 52 into that x and say y equals 6 times 52, and then that'll tell you how many tomatoes there are. So then you just multiply times 52, and you get 312. So that means there would be 312 tomatoes when there are 52 heads of lettuce. And so that's how you're going to do the rest of them. Again, if you have any questions, you can get up with me. But the word problems are just giving you it the same way. You're always going to set up y equals kx, set up your equation, figure out what your k is to plug into that, and then use the information left over to plug in and figure out what your answer would be. And so that's today's lesson. Your homework today is going to be 1 through 18 on page 452 and 455. If you have any questions, you can get up with me, and I'll be more than happy to walk through anything with you that you need. So I hope you'll have a good day, and we'll move on tomorrow.